The continuation of chapter 11. "I'm so sorry," her father said. "I'm so sorry," I said to her in the present. "So sorry that you were abandoned and had to raise yourself." She laughed. "No need to apologize. It happens all the time here in Alpha Nation. It makes us strong," she said. Then she touched her temporal implant and breathed a sigh of relief. "Now let's get moving. Where do you want to go?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "I don't know." Chapter 12. The Library. I could tell Rebecca was getting annoyed with me. I sat on the ground while she stood above me. "Make a decision or I'll make one for you," she said. I got up reluctantly and started to amble around the room. I headed for a door and found myself in a huge hall. Looking up, I saw books of all around me, on shelves stacked 20 feet high. Signs said history, philosophy, science, art, fiction, nonfiction, and more, all in the old tongue. "Well, what are you going to do? You have to make a decision," she said. "This isn't like Zebra Nation where the community will figure things out for you if you do not." "Who told you Zebra Nation was like that?" I asked. "It's written all over your face," she said. "And what do they do in Alpha Nation? How can you know what you are if you aren't assigned a role?" I asked. "We are given the freedom to decide," she said. "And with a million choices, one becomes paralyzed with indecision," I remarked. "Whatever. There's more to life than work and how you fit into a community," she said. I walked away and looked up at the stacks of books. She followed. "I can figure this out," I said. "I'm sure you can," she said, "but you need to make a decision sometime in the next century. What is going to happen when I am not here to help you?" "I could always just decide to live in a forever box," I said, "like you're planning to." "Ah, so you are able to bite if provoked," she said and smiled. "You don't have many friends, do you?" I asked. "I don't need friends," she said. "Now quit stalling." "Fine," I said, and I continued ambling down the hallway, looking at the almost endless stacks of books. "Is there a quicker way to find out what I'm looking for?" I asked her. She pointed her finger and I followed it to a computer that said Automated Index. There were words and pictures flying on the screen. I stood dumbfounded. "What's the issue now?" Rebecca asked me. "I can't even read it," I said. "It's not in the old tongue." "It doesn't matter. Just say what you want and it will translate. Your dialect isn't too much different from ours," she said. I watched the colors and images on the screen making different patterns and was hypnotized. "I wish it wasn't another automated AI thing," I said. She shrugged. "Just ask what you want to find," she said. "In Zebra Nation, we don't try to automate everything. We don't shy away from real people doing real work," I said. "Do you even know what you were going to ask?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. I watched the images passing by. Televisions, factories. I had heard about some of these things, but some were foreign and strange. Video games, guns. I was overwhelmed with possibilities. And again, so many possibilities. Rebecca was becoming increasingly more frustrated with me. I watched images of the creation of Alpha City, the creation of nanobots, cures for diseases, images of other nations, a bomb. Hours passed. I think she was beginning to think that I would never make a decision on what to do. "Stop," I said when it came to a bomb. "So you finally know what you want to ask," she said, "but why are you stopping on this picture of a bomb?" "We were told about the War of Ages, too," I said. "The stories say that there were huge fireballs that destroyed entire cities." "Those bombs could have been from anywhere," Rebecca said. "I know," I said, "but I need to know. Where's that picture from?" I asked the AI. "This is an explosion from the war on Ammonland," it said. "Oh," I said. "They were very likely similar explosions in the War of Ages," Rebecca said. "You are correct. The War of Ages employed a great number of bombs, including 3 atom bombs, many smaller warheads, and cluster bombs just like these," the AI said. "Tell us more about the War of Ages," I asked. "The War of Ages was so named because it stretched for so many years and caused so many fatalities. The people were united." but many right-wing extremists cause instability. These extremists believed that technology was keeping us away from how we were supposed to live, keeping us away from God. They were terrorists, the computer said. That's not the story I know, I said. It all depends on your point of view, Rebecca said. Was the city eternal the capital before the War of Ages? I asked the index. No, the city eternal was a city built to try to find peace between the many factions. There were talks held there. Some people lived peacefully for a time, but in the end, all talks fell apart, the computer said. I nodded. Another lie, I said to Rebecca. Really? Rebecca asked. How are you so sure? I had no answer. Okay, Rebecca said. This was all a fun little history lesson, but what now? She was biting her fingernails and staring at the exit impatiently. I smiled. What is it? She asked. I know where I have to go, what I have to do, I said. Then let's go, she said, but please tell me you're not really thinking of going there. My mother would have cured her disease if she came here, but I think she would have been disappointed. She expected more of Alpha Nation, I said. You are projecting, Cloudy Sky, she said. Maybe, I said. And then it hit me. Maybe Alpha Nation isn't a paradise, but we were always told the City Eternal was. More than that, I said. It was a place of dreams, of endless possibilities. Even if it is not, she would have wanted me to see it. She would have wanted to see it. Trust me, it's a wasteland, Rebecca said. I don't even know if it's still there, and if it is, it could be inhabited by all sorts of extremists and terrorists. The extremists and terrorists like the people who live in Zebra Nation with me? I asked. She didn't say anything, just looked away. I turned back to the index. What can you tell me about Zebra Nation? I asked. Does not compute, it said. See, I said to Rebecca, it doesn't know everything. Now, what can you tell me about Zeta Nation, then? I asked, gritting my teeth having to say that. Created after the War of Ages for people wanting to return to a more primitive way of life, the Zeta Nation is an anti-technology commune. As part of the provision in the creation of the nation, an orange energy wall was put up, surrounding the nation, both to keep the people in their space and to keep them from influencing other nations. As a condition of the creation of the commune, a ruler was put in place to make sure Zeta Nation and its people stay as it is. Zeta Nation is one of several nations created at the end of the war, the computer said. Well, you got it mostly right, I said, and smiled at Rebecca. So nothing's going to stop you from going to the City Eternal? She asked. What if I told you there were some weird monsters, gang lords, nearly impassable terrain? No, I said. I'm going. I think my mother would have wanted me to keep searching. Are you coming with me? I don't think it's a good idea. You aren't going to find some paradise. Life is simply the way it is. It is imperfect. You should really stay here, learn to make the best of things, she said. I'm going, I said. And you aren't going to survive without me. I don't think it's the wisest idea, but I can't let you go alone, she said.